So I thought of sharing a story before bedtime as I was reflecting on some things that I learned, especially during motherhood or parenthood. Um, just before bedtime, and I'm meditating on the day, and I'm thinking of an occasion where I was watching my kids playing in the yard today, and it happened a couple of times when I'm watching my kids playing. Sometimes I like to take something out of the experience. And today, the experience was that as they were playing and I was just observing, my daughter was riding her bike. And we have like a good outdoor area, a bit of grass. But for some reason, she likes to ride her bike into the garage where there's quite a few boxes and some furniture that we don't use, just like a storage type of space. And she likes to run into that. And I told her not to go there, but she wanted to go anyway. And then, as she was trying to get through some of the boxes and furniture, one of the wheels of her bike got caught behind the furniture. It wasn't a huge it wasn't a huge block. It was just like one of the wheels getting a little bit stuck, and she started crying with a lot of frustration about that. As I walk in to see what's happening, she's just so disappointed and so frustrated with the bike not moving that she was crying quite painfully about that. And what parenthood has taught me a lot, or is teaching me constantly, with everything that we expose to, in education, online, and from life itself, is that some situations for the parents are so simple and irrelevant. Like, it's not a big deal for us at all. But then I try to remember that for them, that's the opportunity that they have to learn about life. It's not about the bike, it's not about her going where she was told not to necessarily. It was about that situation, that frustration that she was experiencing being something completely new to her. She did not understand that she could actually do something about it. And so when I walk in, she just says, "Mommy, my bike is stuck. Help me, help me." And then I told her, I was like, "Well, baby, Mommy told you not to go in there, right? But now that you decided to go and explore, I want you to take a minute, calm yourself down, look around, and see what you can actually do to fix this yourself." And then she starts crying, saying, "Mommy, no, I want you to help. Mommy, help me." And then I go like, "Okay, you're gonna try to do that by yourself. And if you can't do it at all, then I'll help you." And then she just calms herself down. When she looks down and around the bike, she realizes that the wheel was stuck for the first time. So she just pushes the bike slightly to the side, and then she hops on the bike again and rides off. And just watching her face, being so like proud of herself doing that, so accomplished, so confident, mm, really makes me reflect about my own life, and makes me reflect about the struggles that I go through as an adult. And I like to put this into a metaphor, like I like doing with most things in life. I think everything fits into a metaphor and we can take a lesson from absolutely anything. So in this case, I like to imagine um, me as the kid, as my daughter in this situation, going through some of those struggles where I'm just crying and disappointed and frustrated about something not working the way I would like to. And I'm praying to God to come and help me, to come and just take that situation away, just to jump in and fix this for me. And what I like to imagine is like I put myself into God's place with my daughter. So, the same way as her bike getting stuck behind the furniture, for her was a big deal. And I could see straight away that her wheel was stuck, and I could easily pick the bike up and put it outside and tell her to keep going. And that would be such a simple, not a big deal at all for me either. But her realization is so important in that moment that sometimes we need to look around and try different ways and figure out a different way, but knowing that there is someone there looking after us, and that if we really, really get stuck, and if we really, really cannot get out of that situation, then our help is there for us, or our support is there for us. But until we have actually learned the lesson in that moment, until we have observed, until we had tried it in many ways or in different ways at least, then it's like God acts a little bit like a parent with their kid, and he just goes like, come on kid, you can do this. Like, just try a different way. Just take a deep breath and trust yourself, you know? And while it's totally okay to cry and to feel frustrated and to feel disappointed about the situation going wrong at that point in time, after that stress moment is gone, and we take a look around and decide to observe and give it a go, we might figure out a way much simpler, a much simpler solution than we expected. But I think the most important thing for me in this metaphor that I'm putting between me and my kids and me and my support from God is that in many situations I've watched my kids and thought that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense how sometimes we don't get that answer or that help that we want so quickly, because there's so much for us to learn in that process that we're in. And I think when we know that we are looked after, and when there is someone always watching out for us, even though they could come and help us immediately, doesn't, for a very good reason, because we're building the confidence, we're building the strength that we need um, for life, for the future, for what is ahead of us. So um, if you're a parent, you will probably be able to relate to this kind of situation, in a lot of different ways. Another example of that that I really remember, and I really put myself in in my kid's position. It's like one day we were in a very busy water park, and I told my son to stay close to me when we were walking. I was carrying a few things in my hands, and he just ran off, ran off in the crowd, and I was screaming his name and asking him to stop, and he just would not listen. He just kept going. Right. So as he kept going, my only goal was to keep my eyes on him so I would not lose him off my sight. Um, and as I kept watching, because I couldn't get to him as quickly as I wished at that point, he walked away quite confidently. But at some point, he looked around and he couldn't see me. And I could see him. But he didn't know I was watching him. And I could see his face just becoming so desperate and so scared as he looked around to all those faces that he didn't know. And all of this takes like a few seconds by the time I can actually um, get to him or make him notice that I'm actually there. And that's another situation where I thought that that's exactly what happens between us and the one that looks after us, that looks after us. And in so many situations where I feel like I have run away so far that I look around and I can't see him anymore. I can't see God anymore. And in that moment, I kind of remember that as a parent, he would never lose me of his sight. And I think that really comforts me. That comforts me because um, I didn't like I didn't like God when I knew of him as God, but it all changed for me when I learned him, when I met God as a father, as as you know, as a creator love, as someone who actually gave me life and has this unconditional love, or this promise of unconditional love. This became stronger and a little bit clearer for me when I became a parent, because then, only then, I could figure out what unconditional love actually is. And what I knew before becoming a mother is that, you know, the love that the parents experience in this earth it's like a sample of the love that God has for us. So I always find a lot of comfort in situations like that, where I feel like it's my job to teach my kids in situations like this, in all the time in life. But I always feel like I'm learning something. I'm actually learning way more than I'm teaching them. Just to remember that um, God does a much better job to look after me than I can possibly do to look after my own kids. And I know what I'm capable of to look after my own children. So, I think what I was trying to say, and what I hope you can get from this, is that you are a child of God. Believe it or not, you have a unbelievable power that looks after you, that is there for you. And when the struggle comes, it's okay to cry, and it's okay to feel frustrated, and it's okay to feel even exhausted. And it's okay to want that struggle to just be fixed for us, to just be taken away. But sometimes it's just when we go through the things that we have to, and we look back and we think like, wow, I'm actually really proud. I was forced to fix that situation myself, because it gave me confidence that I can do more, that I can go to the next phase. It taught me something, and I think that's what life is about. In in situations where you absolutely need your father, your mother, to step in and remove you and save you and fix things for you. Um, just know that they will. I mean, this this love, this higher force that exists. Just know that you are not alone in the world. Just know that you are a child, and that we are learning with every situation is a new experience, and we'll try them, and we'll be guided, and we'll be saved when we need to. I think that's it. If that message was for you, I'm glad. Um, yeah, I hope you stay strong. You look around, you try a different way. You take a deep breath, and you might see when you're ready